Welcome to Let's Talk Near Death, the podcast show where we talk about life, death, and experiences somewhere in between. My name is Kirsty Salisbury, the host of the show, and I welcome you to join me as I talk to everyday people with not so everyday experiences. You may also wish to join the conversation on the Let's Talk Near Death Facebook page or access additional VIP content as a premium subscriber via Patreon. For just a couple of dollars a month, you can get an early access to episodes, additional bonus content, and your chance to connect with my guests. To do so, simply visit patreon.com/Kirsty Salisbury. Let's talk near death.
I heard my friends talking and I understood what they were saying, and I tried to answer them and they couldn't hear me at all. So I got up and I tried to turn the stereo down, but I couldn't touch the volume knob at all. I looked at a mirror and I didn't see myself in the mirror at all. I moved from the bathroom into the family room. It was really hard to move. And I saw my body laying in a chair.
Today I'm joined by David Oakford, who had a near-death experience following an accidental overdose of drugs when he was younger. David is also the author of Soul Bared, A Metaphysical Journey, and he talks about his experience, what he learnt, and the amazing journey that he went on. David, I'm excited to have you joining us and excited to hear more about the adventure that you had. Welcome to Let's Talk Near Death. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened and what took place in your experience?
Okay, well, there was a lot that happened. It was really deep, it was long. And what happened was I overdosed on some kind of drug that I don't know what it was. I grew up right near Detroit, on the border of Detroit, in the same area where Eminem grew up in. He raps about it there. It's low income type of area. I had factories to the left of me, less than a block away, and I had the projects to the right of me, the less than a block away on the other side. So it was what I did was basically I was pretty much free on the street to do whatever I wanted to. I was like one of 9 kids, 2 families that were put together,
Wow.
Stepchildren, that kind of thing. And I was the youngest one, and parents were all worried about the older ones, and had their hands full with them. And me, it was like, well, okay, just be within calling distance. Well, within calling distance, there were the factories, there were the projects, there was the elementary school I went to, and I hung around in that neighborhood, and I got in with the wrong crowd. Everything started out innocently with me, but then it just rolled through. It's like with just with my friends, everything. Just for an example, like we delivered newspapers, right? I delivered those from 8 years old, and we had the whole 2 square mile area that we delivered newspapers to, and it was fun in the beginning. We made lots of money, but then it ended up getting all perverted. We would go out, we would get in trouble. Like we'd go pick up our papers at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Well, we'd get to the paper station at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we would play around in the alley, like fires in the trash cans, just throwing snowballs over the roof under the street, that kind of weird stuff. And that's kind of how my life was. And I ended up getting into the wrong crowd and hanging out with I guess you'd call it a gang, a bunch of young people getting all together and going out and getting in trouble together. That's what gangs do. And I never really thought it was a gang back then, but it really was. And ended up doing bad things, taking risks, all kinds of risks. That's what my life was out taking risks, being stupid, and I wanted to get out of that place, and I saved up some money. I was going to go, and I thought, well, I'll have one last party with my friends, right? So we went and we drank beer all day, and then later on in the night, we wanted to have something else to spice up the night better. So my friend went out, he got me some stuff, and I don't know what it was. It was some kind of, it looked like crack cocaine. I didn't even know anything about crack cocaine back then, but I just heard it was some kind of cocaine, so I crushed it up and I snorted it. And then my friend came back and said, "What did you do?" He saw what was left, and I told him, and he said, "Bad deal. This is going to kill you." And I didn't believe him. I was invincible. I took many risks before, and nothing ever happened. Right? Well, I did it, and then I went outside, and was on the front porch. And I was standing around on the front porch drinking beer. Well, all of a sudden I had to sit down. I sat down. Well, all of a sudden I was going to fall down while I was sitting down. So I just laid down on the grass, and I held on to the grass. I laid down to use the stability of the earth to maintain a hold on clarity. I knew I had to do that to be able to come back. Well, this started out with like an out-of-body experience. What I did was I thought I was riding in my friend's car. We went around the block, around past my parents' house, and they were sitting on a porch. And this happened like 4 houses down from where I grew up. The parents were there, and then I thought I heard my friends talking, and I understood what they were saying, and I tried to answer them, and they couldn't hear me at all. Well, I was in the house. I woke up in the house. I was in this chair, right? And the music was playing like really loud. The stereo was just blasting Doors music, and it was too loud for me. And I love loud music. I still do, but I couldn't take it. It was just way too loud for me. So I got up and I tried to turn the stereo down, but I couldn't touch the volume knob at all. And then so I tried to unplug it. I could see the plug. I could put my hand by the plug, but I couldn't touch the plug to pull it out. And so I started to get a little scared. It's like, what's going on? And then I ran away. I tried to hide in the bathroom so I wouldn't hear the noise anymore, but the noise was still there. I looked in a mirror and I didn't see myself in the mirror at all. And I didn't know what to make of it. And then I thought I'd try to go outside again. So I was trying to move from the bathroom into the family room, and it was really hard to move, but I made my way back in there, and I saw my body laying in a chair, and I didn't know what to think of it then. It was, I got scared because, I saw my body in there. So I started to run around the house and crying and screaming for my friends, trying to find them, trying to get out, couldn't get out, got all scared. And then I thought, well, why don't I ask God to help me? I wasn't religious then, but I did have a schooling in a Lutheran church. So, I knew about prayer, and I knew that prayer was one of the things that felt right to me about that. Well, I prayed to God. I said, God, look, I need some help. I really messed up here, and you're probably the only one who can help me. So I did that, and then all of a sudden I saw this being floating by the door. He had a glow around him, and it was him. He had curly hair, and it was a little bit long, but he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I'm here to help you." And I thought, well, I just prayed for help. He's here and he's going to help me. And he says he will. So, but I was still apprehensive about him. I didn't know what he was. And, I asked him, I heard about the thing about, well, the devil can come and he can deceive you and all that stuff. And so I asked him, I said, how do I know? He said, well, you have to look at my intent. So just like you look at anyone, you look at their intent and you see what their intent is. Like if it's just for them or if it's to harm anyone else, then I might not want to interact with them. And that's not the vibe I got from him. The vibe I got from him, when I first saw him, the music all went away. It all just faded right away. And I felt this loving feeling like yeah, this, okay, well, I'm safe. Well, he proved to me, he told me things that I did when I was a kid. And things that I thought of when I was a kid, when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Okay. And I knew that he knew me and he knew everything about me. So I started to trust him. And he told me that we could go anywhere that we wanted to go. All I would have to do is think about where I wanted to go, trust him, and then we would go. So I didn't know where to go. I thought, I heard of like 7 Wonders of the World. First thing that popped in my head. I said, okay, why don't we do that? And he kind of laughed at me a little bit. He said, well, there's not very many of those left, but I can show you, what is left. So we went to Egypt, and, I thought about it. I trusted him. And then in an instant, we were in Egypt, like snapping your finger, we were there. And I saw this weird thing there. I saw it. It's hard to describe, but I saw it in the past and in the present. And I saw myself in the past as a boy. And then Bob, I call the spirit that helped me Bob, just because it's easier. He he told me that that I did something back in that life that I'm atoning for in this life. And it was weird because I saw it was like, it wasn't like it was past and present. It was like everything was like now. Okay. And there was something to that. And there's something more that he told me that I don't remember from it. It's just like a lot of the stuff that I think I don't remember. I don't remember because he, if I knew it would be wrong for me, it would be bad for me. It would affect my path, and I wouldn't be able to complete it if I knew. So that was that. And after we went there, I said, well, I want to see everything else, only I want to go slow. So we went and we flew slow over the Pacific and through by by India and around the Horn of Africa, and then across the ocean to California. And on the way there, I saw that there were different places on the earth that there were energy that comes out. Bob explained to me that there was energy that comes out of the planet, that the planet produces, and it goes out. And then there are other places where the energy from the universe comes in to the planet and it feeds her. And he told me that the name for the planet is Gaia. That's what its spiritual name is. And so I wondered about the planets, and I saw cities. We got to the U.S. and the West Coast, and I saw the cities, and they were like the energy. I could see the energy, the glow from everything all during this trip, and I could see the energy of the cities, and the energy of the cities were really low because of what we've done to them and how we've adapted to live on them, and what we do to them. And I also saw the Pacific Northwest where there's deforestation going on. I could see, it was the Cascades is what I saw. It was where the deforestation, you could see where okay, trees, nope, no trees, and then more trees. It's like it didn't look right, and it didn't feel right. The energy didn't look right to me. Well, then we went to the Southwest U.S. and there are energy places down there, and there too. I think New Agers call them like a vortex or something, and I saw those. And then we went farther across the United States, and then he started talking about the souls and what we are. And he showed me souls that were around that we would call them ghosts. They hang around, they do what they want to do, and then they sometimes they bother people, sometimes they don't. It all depends on how they are. But they're ghosts basically. And he showed me them. He showed me about their energy and how to tell whether the energy from someone was positive or negative. And you could tell by the colors of the glow, which is the originals call it the aura. And if they had like dull colors, dull dark colors, not vibrant type, it all depends. If they're dark and dull, that means that the soul is dark and dull, and it means and it has a little roadmap there to get back. But it needs someone to kind of read it for them. And like Bob showed me other spirits that were going back and forth, and those spirits were like him, who were helping people like me. And they were going back and forth to somewhere, I don't know. Well, saw that, and then I wondered about everything else. I wondered about like the moon. What about that? Can we go see that? She said, sure. So we went there, and it wasn't so much the moon. It wasn't, that was, unremarkable, I guess you call it. But I could see the planet from there. And, I seen the auras of everything. Well, I saw the auras of everything on the planet, just the aura all around it. It was so beautiful. And after I saw what we've been doing to it, it's like, well, okay, we got to do something about it, and a little concern there. And we had a little conversation there about it. And then I wondered about the stars. So he said, pick one. So I picked one. I didn't know what star it was, whatever. Everything looked like a star out there, right? So we went, we were going to go to the star. and we went past all of the planets, and all the planets had like a hum to them, like a music that they had, and they all had auras too. And Bob showed me that there were places on all the other planets where souls live, and they grow there. And each of the planet has a theme, and they grow according to that theme to learn to set up to come to this planet. And then after that, we went to the star place. Well, the star place was kind of like a spiral, and it seemed like it was sucking things in. And I could see that there was something on the other side, and I wanted to go there. I wanted to go there with all my heart. I could not go there. Bob said I couldn't go there, so he said he wanted to make sure that I was ready before I go. And then after that, he showed me a master vibration entity that appeared to me as Jesus. It's the same Jesus I saw at the Lutheran school that I went to, the picture on the wall. He appeared like that, only he had his energy all around him and everything, and he only appeared like that just for a second so that I could recognize, what I'm looking at. And he put his energy all around me, and he said, just tell them to love one another. And that's all he said, and then he left. I didn't talk to him. I didn't feel like I was like, no, it's like, no, let him. He knows. Listen, don't talk, listen, right? So I listened to that, and that was like the simplest message that there ever was, but it's the answer for everything. And then after that, I didn't know. Bob said we could still go somewhere, and I didn't know where to go, so I figured I'd let him take me somewhere. So we went past all the planets. Oh, after I saw Jesus, another thing I saw all the planets all in a line with all their auras, and I could hear all of their sounds, their hum that they made. That was all together. It was music, and as close as I could hear, I could see for this new age music, instrumental music, it is kind of sort of like it is. But after that, well, we went to, like I was saying, we went to this place, and it was near Earth, and I could see souls coming back and forth from the Earth, and I could see the aura and everything on Earth, and I could see where we were. And I went to this place. It was a city, and when I came down, to the left of me there was this building, and to the right of me there was another building, and all in the background there were other white buildings that had wood trim on them, and there was like fields too off in the distance. It was just like here. It looked even more awesome than here, and the feeling from it, there was like, it's like, I felt love just like I did when Bob first saw me, only on a way different scale. And we went into this one building, the little building, and we went upstairs, and I remember walking up the stairs. I don't understand how I could be walking up those stairs when all we were doing was flying everywhere else. But I went into these rooms. There were 4 rooms up there, and there were 4 souls in those rooms. And I went in, and I saw them, and each of them said something to me, but I don't remember what it was. And they were concerned that I was there. Okay. Then we left there, and we went into the other building, the big building. Big building had this long, I walk in the door, long hall going this way with a big room, and then longer, it's just long, there's the endless. And I went there, the straight hallway, and there's 2 doors to the right of me that had golden knobs on them. And then to the left of me, there was a bench. And Bob told me to sit on the bench. He went inside the doors, and then a little bit later, well, he went inside the doors, but before he went, he said, just relax, don't be afraid, okay? So I was sitting there, and as I was sitting on the bench, I started to remember the Egypt life. And I was almost to the point where I was going to learn what happened when Bob came out of the room, and he said I had to go in there. He said, but don't be afraid and be truthful. So, okay. So I went into the room, and there was like a circular type of a table, and there were these beings that were around it. They were their light. And then they started to show me my life. And there was one of the beings I was afraid of too, that I knew who he was. And when I walked in there, I knew where I was, and I knew I was there before. And they started showing me my life. And then it was my life. Like, you know, when I was growing up, and there was a theme to it. There was like, okay, why are you so angry? Okay, so we're going to show you why you're so angry. And there was a funny uncle issue. There was, just, just stuff that happened, an abandonment issue with my father, just, personal stuff like that. And it showed me how I grew into what I was. They showed me stuff like the paper routes and what happened to those. They showed me the schoolyard. I played baseball, innocent pickup baseball game when you're 7, 8 years old, grows into like when you're 14, now it's a drinking and a drugging thing, and it just, got perverted like everything else. And I ended up, I saw all the reasons why, and I saw what actually happened as opposed to what I thought happened. So it was a big learning experience to where it's like, okay, so there's people in my life. Okay, well, what did I do to them, and what did they do to me? And then at the end of it all, they asked me if I thought I was more positive or more negative. So I had to tell them that I was more negative, but I didn't want to. And I thought about lying to them, so I'm not being, truthful with them. And they knew. They said, well, you're going to have to decide what you want to do. You can stay here if you want to, or you can go back, but know that there's consequences either way. So I pleaded with them, and they ended up getting kicked out of the room somehow. And I went into this garden. There's a stone bench there. And I started thinking about my life, and I was thinking about what would happen if I went back, and then Bob came, and I asked him if he could tell me what would happen when I got back, and he told me all bad stuff. Like I was going to have problems with employment. I was going to be sick for a long time. It was going to be hard. I have relationship issues and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, and I would have kids, and I'd have kids that I have to take care of, and they need me for what I'm becoming. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, I was thinking about me all the time. I wanted to stay there. I wanted to do, this and that. And I didn't realize how much my life interacts with the other people, and how, what we should do. And I decided to go back. So Bob said to go back, I had to dive into this river. And what the river does is it makes you forget what you're not supposed to know before you come back here. Things that would hurt other people or hurt you. Okay, so I dove into the river. I came back and followed this trail back to my body. It was like a glitter type of a thing. I followed it down, and I followed it down to where this landmark. There's the Detroit Zoo water tower. It's a Coleman Young on it. I came down there, and then I went a couple of miles down the way to my neighborhood, and I stopped at my house to see. And I looked in on my parents and my brothers, and then I went back. Then I went a little ways down the street to the house that I had the experience in, and I saw the sunrise, and I could hear the sunrise, and I could feel the sunrise, and I was all fired up. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and get in. I went through the wall, went in, got back in my body, and then the first thing I did was make sure that everything worked, fingers, toes, all that stuff, and then I woke up. I got out of the chair, and all my friends were all passed out on the floor. This is like 5:30 in the morning, and I woke them up because I wanted to tell someone. I want to tell someone right away. So I started to tell them, and they were all mad because I woke them up, and they said, "Oh, listen to your crazy talk and all that stuff." So I left, and then I had all that the whole day. Was like me trying to tell people, and then other people trying to tell me I'm crazy or laughing at me or stuff like that. And but every time that sucked my energy just right away, all that extra energy that I had, anything that I had, well, by the end of the day was gone. And then I went to sleep, and that night Bob came to me in a dream, only it was just his voice. It was nothing but his voice. And he started telling me things that I'm going to need to do. Well, I was surprised at this because I thought Bob would be just watching me like he did before. I didn't know he would be taking an active interest in my life. And I thought about what people said all day. That was crazy. And then I'm hearing this voice, and I realized that, people that hear voices, they end up locked up someplace, especially back in 1979. So I shut up about it. After this, I only told one other person, and that was my fiance. And I made sure I told her before we got married, so she would know what she's getting into. And she was good with it. Thank God. Still with her. But yeah, that's the story. What happened. I know it's long, but it's it's what happened. And there's a lot to it that I don't remember. And there's a lot to it that's in my book that I haven't said because obviously I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's more to it.
That is just an amazing account. I love the detail in it. Thank you, David. Do you have any idea how long you were gone for? When I say gone, I mean separated your spirit from your physical body.
Okay, the sun was, it was daylight when me and Bob left in Detroit.
Yeah.
And it was sunrise by like 5:30 in the morning when I got back. This was in like the third week of, I think it was like the 22nd or something. It was like a week or so before 4th of July.
Right, yeah.
1979, that's when it was, in the early summer.
And when you were traveling around, you talked about how you went to Egypt and then you went to different places, then the moon, then the stars. Did that happen, straight away? Was that instant? Or how much of that time do you perceive was spent traveling around?
Well, we spent a lot of time in Egypt, and took a while to go, even as fast as we went. I mean, we went slower so I could see things, and the stuff took time. Like Egypt was a long time. The city was a long time. Trying to remember the major things. Not hitting me right now, but yeah, there was the time. I think that those were the most times of the city and Egypt.
Yeah, I find it really fascinating to talk about the time outside the body. Also, when you talk about the energy, how you can see colors, see auras, see energy around the place. I love this. I find it so interesting. One of the questions I have for you is, would you say, I know you talked about you had the choice to come back, but there would be consequences either way. Was that choice entirely yours, or did you feel influenced in one way or another within that decision?
I had to say both, really. I mean, right. It was a free choice. I mean, I could stay or I could go, but if I stayed, either way, I would still have to meet the goals that I've set for this lifetime. Either way, I'd have to say, if I had to make them there, I could make them there, but there's no negativity there. There's no bank that's going to foreclose on your house. There's nothing like that there. That's all here. And but the reason is, what's good about it is it's all here is because you can because it's all here, you have the negativity and stuff to work with that's going to mold you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah. And you talked about these consequences, that you had them here or you had them there. Did you have any knowledge around what the consequences would be in either situation?
Well, there to stay there, it would take longer to grow.
Right.
And to be here, it take less time to grow. It's just faster. It's there is for here. There is for here. That's what that's what it's all about. I mean, that city. If it's the same place everyone else goes to, you go there, you get renewed. You what you do is you go there. This is what I believe that you do. You go there and you review the life that you've had, and review the goals that you had before, and see how far you went to meet those goals, and what goals you met, what goals you didn't meet, and you evaluate that in the afterlife. And then you use that knowledge to set goals for the next life. And in the meantime, there's a whole bunch of other things that are going on with other people, that are going to be with you in your life, and the people that you're going to interact with. There's all, like the soul group thing. I believe in the soul group thing. I believe that the four spirits I met in those 4 rooms are actually my kids now.
Oh,
I do
okay.
have 4 kids.
Yeah.
So, and that's it makes sense to me that would be them.
Yeah. Did you get that feeling when you were there with them, or is that something that you've realized since you've come back and had your kids?
That's something I realized since I came back.
Yeah. So did they feel familiar when you were with them?
Yes. Not quite as much as the beings in the room, but yeah.
Yeah. What about Bob? I love that you've given him that name. Did you feel like you've done a lifetime with him before? Was he familiar? Do you think he's part of your soul group? Who was Bob?
Who was Bob is a really a good question, or who or what he is.
Yeah, and it's a big one, isn't it?
I'd like to think that he was an angel, and the reason that I lean toward that, because the reason he got into the room before I went into, and he talked to those beings in that room, and I don't think that if he was like a spirit guide or something, he would have the pull to be able to do that. That's why I think that Bob was an angel. Now, he didn't have any wings. He didn't say he was an angel, but it's my perception, I guess, what I need.
And did you feel any kind of fear when you were with Bob? I know you did when you first were in the bathroom. You looked in the mirror and you couldn't see yourself. And then you walked back, you saw yourself lying in the chair. You said you were afraid at that point, but did you have fear from the time that you were with Bob going on through the rest of the journey?
No, I was not afraid. The only time fear came up was in the life review. And
right.
And that was I find that amazing looking back, that in a loving place like that you can have those emotions, and that those emotions would be there. I know I was the one who brought those there, but still, it could still be there, and I can still have those feelings, and it still, help me to learn to be able to grow eventually.
Yeah, okay. Have you questioned why this happened to you? You must have.
Oh yeah. I thought about it during the experience of why, but then I thought, well, don't worry about that now. Just do what you're doing, enjoy what you're doing, learn as much as you can. And that's one thing that I wish I could have done, was the other option that I had. Come here. I had another option that I wanted, which probably wasn't a viable option, but I wanted to stay with Bob, and I wanted to go everywhere and learn with Bob and be like Bob. That's what I wanted to do. But that's, not going to be the case. It's not the case at the moment, but, maybe it is. I really don't mess with him. I know he's there. I do know he's there. And there were times like when I was coming forward with the story, and I first started writing my book, I kept asking him. I go on my way to work, driving down the road, and I'd say, I think about Bob, and I said, well, what should I do about this story? What should I do? What should I write the book? And it was always, boom, answer yes, boom, answer yes.
Yeah.
But so far as talking to him now, I just want to do what I'm doing on my own. And, I do try to talk to him sometimes. It's more of a experiment than anything else. I mean, a lot of times what I get is I'll ask him a question, and then he'll answer the question with a question. Like, what do you think? Or this is all on you. This is not me. This is your decisions.
Yeah.
So, it bothers me sometimes that he does it. Not that I do that all that often, though.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly how that feels. So, since your experience, how has your life changed? What's your life like since coming back into your body? And did you come back with any sense of purpose or vision or any gifts? Or what was different for you once you came back?
Well, I had this mission that I really didn't understand, really didn't get after, and that's learn how to handle my energy, learn how to harness it. That's what, one of the goals. It's like, okay, well, I came home and I was back. Well, I came here. I was jumped back into the same frying pan that I jumped out of, and I had all those problems still that that came up through my life. And sicknesses like alcoholism and bipolar disorder, that kind of stuff. Which I finally figured out later. Only took forever, but that's. But my friends, those friends I had, I stopped hanging around them. Started hanging around with the neighbor guys next door and my little brother's friends, stuff like that. And went back to the roller rink. I used to roller skate when I was a kid, and I lived at the skating rink for a long time until I got too cool for it, And then I ended up going back to it, and I still skate sometimes. But I ended up, within 2 years of the experience, I met my wife. Okay, I met her, and everything that was so far away from where I was when I had the experience. And I didn't have any girlfriends. Nobody wanted me. No driver's license, no car, riding a 10-speed. Come on,
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I met her, and everything kind of changed. It was like a miracle that I met her. I think it's a miracle that she was okay with the experience and she believes in it and everything. And a lot of times I think she believes in it more than me, because she does a lot of things that I just don't do. We're totally different. I don't know why, but we are. She's a Scorpio, I'm a Leo, and then you can compare those, and just keep comparing them.
Yeah.
Not the best match, but it works for us.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And so when you came back, did you have any sense of, or any gifts or abilities? Were you more attuned spiritually, or anything else that you noticed?
Well, there was a time for a while where I would get, I don't know if you call it clairvoyance or whatever, but I would get like I was talking to my stepdad. We were working together. This was after the experience. And I told him what happened. I tried to tell him, at least, told him a little bit, and it ended up, no, all that stuff. But I tried to tell him, and when I was telling him, I was getting things like how he's going to die and when he's going to die. And it's like,
all right.
Okay, well, and I told, I got in a fight one time with him, and I told him. And it's like, just from that, and from another thing, my friend, I had this friend, Bob told me he was going to die. This was the night after the experience. Bob told me this. He said he was going to die in a drunk driving accident, and that I would be a part of it. I did not like to know that. I did not like to know about my stepfather. I didn't want to know about any of that stuff. And when my friend died, that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing right there. I just said, well, no. And in hindsight, I really wish I would have listened to Bob when he came back that night. I mean, I really do, but I can understand why I didn't now, because all the things that I went through, I mean, after, and what I put people through after. I mean, I'm going to have another Hellacious Life review coming up. I know I will, but it's, it's just how it is. I mean, it's, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think that we all have our own missions. We have our own things that we need to do and learn from. And I don't know. I mean, we can always just do our best, I suppose. So, yeah. David, thank you very much for sharing your story in such detail. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Okay, the book, I've had books since 2004. My current book is the second edition of Soul Bared, A Metaphysical Journey. There's, I have one that was published that's not available anymore. It was the first one. It's, you can't get it. So I published the second edition in September 11th of 2018. You can get it on Amazon, and I promote it on Facebook all the time. I have that. I have my website that has the story on it, and it's been around for a while. It's on the near-death experiences and the afterlife website. It's on the IANS website. It's on the NDERF website. There's so many ways that you can read it, and almost all of them are free. So
yeah, I love that.
Goldbear.com, and you can get it on Amazon if you read it and you like it, and you want to have a hard copy. I got a pretty cover. The whole book was made from artists. I wrote it, and then a friend of mine found a painting online that she said that when she read my story, she envisioned that. And when she sent me that picture, and I looked at it, and it was like, I could see some dark souls over here. I could see the angel holding a ray of light. I could see, ladies going up to the light, ladies, men. I saw a group to the right that may have been the council that I went to. That's why I call them the group that reviewed me. I call them the council. And the spirit, I call it the spirit. The city, I call it the spirit city. But yeah, it was. I had something on the tip of my tongue. It's gone.
That's okay. It'll come back when it needs to. That is amazing. We will put some links for that. And I really do love that you've got that as a free resource and that people are able to learn and to find out more about your experience through those sites. So David Oakford, thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Let's Talk Near Death podcast show. If you've enjoyed it, please share it with your friends, tell people about it. I'd love to get these messages out there. Don't forget you can also pick up your VIP access pass for additional content at patreon.com/Kirsty Salisbury. You can connect with us via the Let's Talk Near Death Facebook page, and I look forward to catching you for another episode soon.